Hello, and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This is going to be a 1v1 game, Orc versus Undead, 4k.Tubby versus Simply King. So you know this is going to be good. Two kings going at it. So
ready to work.
But at any rate, this is going to be Centaur Grove, as you see, 1v1. You spawned at the top, sort of 12 o'clock position. I spawned at the sort of 2 or 3 o'clock position here. And yeah, so we're gonna have plenty of fun here on this ginormous map. So I'm building my sort of standard orc base. He's going for sort of the standard fiend build. Looks like he might be trying to wall his base off. Getting to figure out the altar.
Work complete.
Generally, I think Undeads go for the altar first, but he might be getting extra ghouls. We'll see. So,
work complete.
Nope. So a slight difference there, but
ready to work.
Either way, excuse me. So he's going for a Farseer. He's going to be going for the far more standard
My life
Death
for
Knight.
the Horde.
And one sort of advantage the Farseer offers me is I'm going to be able to scout all the spawn points without sort of wasting a peon's harvesting time to do it. So, you know, it is going to sort of result in me taking some damage on this creep as I'm not tanking with the wolves or getting extra damage from them. But I am going to stumble upon his base. I see that he's going for a fiend build. I see this fiend coming over here scouting.
We're under attack!
Fairly intelligent to do that. To know that I'm not going for an expansion. So now that I know where he is, I can go ahead and spawn the wolves again, or spawn, create the wolves with my army and creep a little bit more easily without tanking as much. So I got what I need to do my scouting, and so now I know, you know, what to sort of do as the game goes on. Like usual, if you go for that delayed hero build with the fiends, it's gonna let me get level 2. Usually,
my life for the
I've
Horde.
already corrupt 2 camps in the time that he's finished here and get level 2. So right now, my goal is going to be actually A, go heal up, which is gonna slightly delay me, but
work complete.
I'm gonna pick up a speed scroll, clarity, and healing salve. And I'm going to run to his base because now I've got a lot of damage output with the wolves and with chain lightning. And I'm thinking I might be able to get some damage with acolytes here. So I'm going to go in here and check it out. I'm going to see that his, or I've already seen that his Tome of Relics is sort of out front. I don't think I knew if he had a tower yet, but so I'm going to go immediately for these acolytes. That's not here. Not really much you can do to save these acolytes. His base is more off the keep up, but the wolves are pretty small in terms of collision size. They can get back there and do some damage.
We're under attack!
Second acolyte kill. So in the middle of his tech, not quite in the middle, but you know, he's still going to be out 2 acolytes quite a while here. And
work
actually
complete.
A lot of damage on this ghoul. I don't know if I'm going to kill it. Probably
We're under attack!
But I'm going to do some damage there. I'm going to run. I don't have to burn my town portal, which is useful. And I see that he's level 2. He's got some sort of bad items for a Death Knight, not really helping him out all that much. But I got a Cloak of Invisibility, which didn't really help me out all that much. So, but at any rate, I'm going to pick up a Panda. Again, you've seen me do this strategy in one of the other audio commentaries. I feel like the Panda works pretty well with the Farseer because of the AoE. Once we level these heroes up, they're going to be very strong against fiends and ghouls, actually. Or if he decides to go for like casters or dargs, they're going to be great against those. They're going to be sort of weak against the tier 3 options of undead, but in the mid game, I feel like they're really strong heroes. They creep pretty well together. I just feel like they're pretty good. And in terms of fighting enemies, fighting that expansion, you know, power 1, probably gonna be okay. We're gonna take out this shop. He actually does not have a slaughterhouse at the moment, so he does have a quite large army of fiends here. 31 because he's got, you know, he's got like 3 skeletons out here. Bear, somewhere. White, his micro is not going all that well here, so I'm getting advantage. Sadly, I'm kind of getting hit by all of the dead, and he does get a kill there, so he loses quite a bit. I lose quite a bit. He's going to be level 3. He's got 3 boots of agility, which is just awful. It would be about as awful as I had 3 boots of agility with a Farseer first. But I'm going to be getting raiders. And you notice my base, these burrows are sort of, you know, not super defensive, but not super offensive positions. They're behind a lot of buildings. I feel like it'd be pretty annoying for him to sort of harass these burrows.
Upgrade
And
complete.
I'm actually tier 3 now, so exactly
Fresh, cool
what the goal there was.
Ready to ride.
Not exactly clear because I don't have a war mill to get fortified burrows, but I can get potentially an orb if I had the gold or a tiny great hall. So those are some options. But again, probably not really the greatest idea to go for tier 3 there, honestly, since I don't have the resources to really take
Ready
advantage
to
of
ride.
it.
Under attack.
I don't have a war mill to get fortified burrows, which is something I really could afford at tier 3. But this battle is pretty good for me with the snare, you know, with these AoE heroes, with the wolves. Even though he's got armor soul, you know, it doesn't really matter. A lot of my damage out there is magic damage, so not really all that big of a deal that he can you know, reduce the regular damage. I think I'm gonna turn up some here, maybe not.
Our hero has slain.
Did lose like all of his fiends, it looks like.
We're
except
under
for that
attack.
one. And so now with the snare, I can be really frustrating. And I probably could have gotten a Hero's round if I would have been playing a little better. But I do end up, I think, saving this Raider, hopefully. Looks like I've misclicked. I might end up losing it. Let's see where it ends up going here. In the meantime, I'm trying to chase down his Death Knight. Not really going all that great. But you know how it goes. I could have went for that kill on the Quill Beast. Honestly, not sure why I didn't. But because he could have ran in there and actually killed some of these cells. But sadly for him, the pathing and fog saving that for me. So, but anyway, I've got my hero back here. I'm actually only level 2 on the Farseer. I really want to get level 3. He is 3 and 2. I am only 2 and 2, so I'm almost level 3 on the Farseer there. So I'm adding in some Wind Riders and actually picked up an Orb of Lightning. This is going to be helpful in destroyers. Really helpful in chasing out wings if I needed to. Sort of birds to sort of slow things down. It's going to be useful. He's actually got summoned units, so it's going to add extra damage to any summoned units he's got if I purge them. So that's going to be really good. So yeah, but the Wind Riders and the Orb are really sort of more focused on countering the possibility of
We're under
destroyers.
attack.
If you were to get them, notice he is tier 3, but he's good for the level 6 of cast fiends. On the one hand, actually has a lot
Work complete.
this spell. Focus down those units. Really, they do have the ability to sort of spiky dispel, as you can say. I do manage to get out of it with a level hit. Sadly, I don't kill the statue. So actually, I do kill the statue. He doesn't actually have web, which I sort of noticed. I saw they had gargs, so it's usually you either get web or gargs. Usually you usually don't get both, though. I guess there are some odd scenarios where you might want to have both web for the Bat Riders and gargs for, or not. excuse me, Gargs for the Wind Riders, and Web for the Battle Riders. So that's sort of one possibility. His Death Knight is trying to get in here and get some damage with the Farseer, but the passing, trying to keep him out of there, and I do have the
We're under attack!
going to be okay here. He's too risky. He does have the motor, but it doesn't really matter. He pretty much lost the game in that last engagement when he didn't secure that Farseer kill. The Necromancers weren't. I think they would have been much more. He would have been much more. His army would have been more effective if he would have added Banshees instead of Necromancers. Just comparing those two, because Skeletons didn't really. I mean, I had Raiders, but you know, he didn't have like meat wagons to provide corpses. So the Necromancers are just kind of like, you know, not nearly as effective as they might have been otherwise. I guess he could have used, if he had Adept, he could have gone for Unholy Frenzy, which is a pretty big damage boost. Plus 75%. It doesn't boost damage. It boosts attack speed. So 75% extra attack speed at the cost of 4 hit points a second. Which, you know, it's sort of a risk reward type deal. You're kind of like with Troll Berserkers doing Berserker mode or Berserker Rage, whatever it's called. They do 50% faster attack speed, but they take 50% more damage. So, you know, it makes your unit sort of glass cannons. They do a lot more damage, but they're going to be sort of getting killed a lot quicker. So that's one thing that he could do. Banshees at Adept would have been, you know, he can cast Anti-Magic Shield. Curse is pretty strong if I don't have any Dispel. 33% damage reduction. You know, is right up there with, in terms of raw numbers, it's probably very close to like Slow. Slow doesn't do like 33% damage reduction. It does, I think, 25% attack speed reduction, but it also reduces movement speed by 50%. So in terms of kiting, you know, that is gonna, for melee units especially, that can play a big role in terms of their damage output. If they're not close enough to hit something, they're doing 0 damage. So, but so it's a little bit sort of cloudy in terms of like trying to compare them, but you know, in terms of like combat effectiveness, I'd say they're pretty close, or at least in terms of damage output, damage reduction. So, but anyway, he did not do that. He went for the Necromancers and didn't really go so well. I think the Beastmaster was sort of a bizarre choice. Yeah, sure, it offered sort of more tanking and units, but late game it definitely did not add very much. Again, sort of a function of not being very high leveled, but you know, a level 1 and 2 Beastmaster is not really the same as like a level 1 or 2 Lich, especially against Orc. I think Frost Armor would have been way more effective. And yeah, there's also other heroes that you could go for. You know, that probably would have been more effective in that situation. Creeping wise, the Beastmaster is probably pretty decent to creep, but in terms of effectiveness, he really has to get high leveled, and he really, you know, it was sort of, I won't say it was a fluke, but you know, the fact that I didn't have any Spirit Walkers, I did have a Lightning Orb, so I could actually deal with his summon units, even if they were leveled fairly effectively, unless it was like a level 3 bear. Those are still pretty annoying, but otherwise, you know, level 1 or 2 Quill Beasts, level 1 or 2 bears, level 1 or 2, even level 3, maybe hawks. Not really that big of a problem, but you know, that would have been sort of, if he would have had like a level 4 or 5 Beastmaster, that could have, you know, made a big difference. But obviously it would take a long time to get that, and by then, hopefully, if it was really going to become an issue, I would have gotten some Spirit Walkers, but or even either another orb or some shaman. So, but at any rate, I don't think it added too much to the early mid game push that he looked to be trying to do. And so it pretty much went that way. We made about the same amount of units. I killed more. Largest army. I had the larger army by about 11 food at a certain point. He had 2 hero kills actually, which sounds pretty. It probably was what kept him in the game. With such a wonky army. Gargs don't really. When he had those Gargs, I don't even think I had that many Wind Riders, and Gargs are very bad against a Farseer and a Panda. I didn't really per se have to rely on my AOE to knock them out of the sky, but they do fall very quickly to Breath of Fire, Chain Lightning, Drunken Haze, and with Ensnare, I mean he's not really countering anything except if I just have Wind Riders. That's really the only thing he would be countering. Maybe Spear Walkers, but I can go for Ethereal Form, and then it's like they don't really totally counter Spirit Walkers because I can still use Spirit Link, Disenchant, what have you. So again, kind of a weird decision to add Gargoyles in there, but what can I say? He might have thought, some people might think that going for a Farseer and a Panda is going to be a step into mass Wind Riders, which, I've seen that strategy work. It can be very effective against Fiends, especially if you start leveling those heroes up, and you can amass like 8 Wind Riders or more. Maybe add a Tauren Chieftain for Stomp or Shockwave, or maybe just keep those 2 heroes and level them both to like 5 and 3 or whatever. Then the AOE becomes very, very strong against the Fiends. That many Wind Riders, you can pop off Fiends really quick, and then they can quickly get into trouble. But like I say, you have to scout your opponent. He should have probably realized I had too many grunts to really transition to Wind Riders like that, and also making Raiders makes it a little bit less likely that I'm going to transition into just having like 10 Wind Riders. So Gargs were pretty much useless as that goes. Maybe he had planned on, even though I doubt it, potentially trying to creep the fountain with the Gargs easier than maybe just Fiends with Web. But honestly, I think Fiends with Web creep those heal fountains just as easily as Gargs would. Especially if you web the dragon away from the heal fountain. But that's just my thinking there, and yeah, Gargs are definitely not standard in this matchup, especially against a Farseer first, I would say. Beastmaster definitely an abnormal hero choice. Not to say that you shouldn't play around with sort of different strategies, but I just think it was really misguided, and pretty much the result was sort of as expected if you're going to be going for sort of an inoptimal strategy. And so yeah. So anyway, this is ScryMind. Hopefully you got some entertainment here, a little bit of tips on using a Farseer and a Panda. There's timings where if they're out of their base, level 2 Farseer, a couple of grunts can be just sort of game breaking. It's not an instant win if you kill 2 acolytes during their tech, even especially if their tech is like 70, 80, 90% of the way done. It's not as big of a hit. It's still going to cost them 150 gold just to replace those acolytes. It's going to take time to build those, so they can't immediately tech. And the lost mining time, however long it is, during their tech that they're without the acolytes. is going to be resource cost to them. But in the long run, they're not totally losing those resources. It's just delaying them. So, you want to take advantage of some things. Another thing is, hopefully, if they're out of their base, they might burn their town portal. And then hopefully you can keep the positioning to where you don't have to burn your town portal. And again, it's sort of hard to do that. Speed scroll helps out a little. You really want to watch out the positioning of your hero. If you're trying to decide between immediately burning your town portal or losing like one grunt, that's sort of a question mark what you want to do. But if you're having to choose between losing your hero and a grunt and or multiple grunts, you're gonna pretty much have to TP because that's too big of a loss. Even for 2 acolytes, that's gonna be one grunt costs 200 gold. Town portal, kind of hard to just say it's 170 gold. That's how much you can sell it for, but it's pretty crucial to have a town portal in certain scenarios. You can get caught out of position. It limits how aggressive you can be. You don't want to be running around without a town portal in the mid to late game, especially against any race, but against a nuking race. Really risky. So it sort of limits what you can, realistically creep. If you want to buy another town portal, that's 350 gold. So maybe that's the number you should look at instead of 170. Obviously, losing your hero and stranding grunts is sort of the worst case scenario. You really cannot afford to do that. I'd say if you lose your hero and 2 grunts, probably just quit that game. I mean, I know never say die and fight to the end, but if the game is even close to even, that is going to be a catastrophic loss. And so don't try your best not to do that. If you just lose a level 1 hero but get all your grunts away, then it's only 170 gold to revive. You get 100 mana, so maybe you had less than 100 mana, so that could be okay. You get full health. Level 1 hero isn't that much experience. So in that respect, a lot of players will, if they're only going to lose a level 1 hero, they won't burn a TP. But when you start adding in unit deaths to that, it's really really tricky to sort of take those risks and lose that much for a TP. So anyway, this is going to be ScryMind signing out.